Imagine a world without light, without recorded sound, without cinema. Now imagine one man who helped change it all. Welcome to Wortho, where we uncover the lives of the visionaries who shaped our modern world. Today, we begin the electrifying journey of a man who turned darkness into light, Thomas Edison. He wasn't born a genius. In fact, his teacher said he was too slow to learn. But the truth? He was simply too fast for the system. The curious boy who wouldn't sit still. Born in 1847 in Milan, Ohio, Edison showed signs of intense curiosity from an early age. He constantly asked questions, too many for his teachers. After being expelled from school, his mother, a former teacher, took his education into her own hands. That was the spark. At home, Edison was free to explore science and experimentation. By age 12, he was already selling newspapers and candy on trains, while conducting chemistry experiments in the baggage car. Wired for greatness, telegraphy, and the sound of progress. A train accident left Edison partially deaf at age 15. Many saw it as a tragedy. He saw it as a gift. It allowed him to focus. He taught himself telegraphy and soon became a skilled telegraph operator. But Edison wasn't content with routine. He wanted to improve things. He invented a telegraph machine that could send multiple messages over the same wire, an innovation that caught investors' attention. With that success, Edison moved to New York and started what would become a lifetime of world-changing invention. The birth of Menlo Park, the world's first invention factory. In 1876, Edison built the first industrial research lab in Menlo Park, New Jersey. This wasn't just a lab, it was an innovation powerhouse. Here, with a team of skilled assistants, Edison created inventions like the carbon microphone and the phonograph. But his biggest ambition was still glowing in his mind: electric light. He was competing with the clock and with dozens of other inventors. But Edison's advantage? Relentless testing. He reportedly tried over 6,000 materials for the filament before finding one that worked. Up next, the bulb that lit the world. We're only getting started. In the next episode, we'll dive deep into Edison's race to invent the light bulb and how that single creation transformed the world forever. Stay tuned, the future is just beginning. What if the world never slept in darkness again? That was the dream, a dream no one had realized. Not fully. Gas lamps were dangerous, candles flickered out. But Thomas Edison believed he could bottle light itself. And he wasn't alone. Across the globe, inventors were racing to create a practical electric light, but Edison, he wasn't trying to be first. He was trying to be the last. The one whose design would work in every home, every street, every city. Electricity wasn't new. The idea of a light bulb had been around for decades, but all attempts had failed. The problem? Filament. The wire inside the bulb burned too fast, glowed too dimly, or required too much power. One had found the perfect material. Edison's genius wasn't in discovering electricity, it was in making it usable. In 1878, Edison began one of the most exhaustive experiments in history. His team at Menlo Park worked around the clock, every test logged, every failure studied. They tried platinum, bamboo, cotton thread soaked in carbon, thousands of materials, thousands of failures. But Edison didn't believe in failure. "I have not failed," he said. "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That wasn't arrogance, it was obsession. In October 1879, after nearly 2 years of testing, it happened. A carbonized bamboo filament, placed in a vacuum-sealed bulb, glowed and kept glowing for over 13 hours. Then 40, then 100. They had done it. Not just a light bulb, but a reliable, affordable, mass-producible one. Edison didn't just invent a bulb, he invented a system, generators, wiring, switches, an entire infrastructure for lighting the world. In 1882, New York's Pearl Street became the first city block lit by Edison's electric light system. Crowds gathered, newspapers exploded with headlines. Night turned to day. For the first time in history, people had control over darkness. Edison's invention didn't stop at lighting a bulb. He dreamed bigger. He envisioned cities lit from corner to corner, factories running after sunset, and homes glowing safely at night. But building the light bulb wasn't enough. He had to convince a world still in love with gaslight that electricity was the future. He built power stations, designed underground wires, and set up switches in homes. When skeptics mocked his ideas, Edison replied with results. By 1882, over 500 customers in Lower Manhattan had electric power. That number multiplied. Quickly, investors noticed our journalists, hailed him as the Wizard of Menlo Park. But behind every headline was a man who worked 18-hour days, barely sleeping, always iterating. Still, competitors were closing in. Nikola Tesla. George Westinghouse. The war of currents loomed. But Edison was undeterred. He'd started a fire the world could no longer ignore. Edison had already lit up the night, but now he wanted to capture something even more elusive: sound itself. In 1877, as gaslight still hissed on street corners, Edison made a bold declaration. He would invent a machine that could record and reproduce the human voice. People laughed. Sound was invisible. How could you trap it? But Edison didn't care about mockery. He was already sketching ideas, testing materials, building prototypes, and in a few short months, he shocked the world. The result? The phonograph. A device that could record sound on a tinfoil-covered cylinder and play it back. For the first time in human history, a voice could outlive its speaker. Memory could become mechanical. The first words ever recorded, "Mary had a little lamb," spoken by Edison himself. The machine crackled, hissed, and then echoed his voice back. Audiences were stunned. Some thought it was sorcery, others wept. But the prototype was fragile. Tinfoil, tore easily. Sound quality was poor. Edison pulled into lighting projects, put the phonograph aside. Years past, competitors improved on his design. Still, the world remembered who did it first. By the late 1880s, Edison returned to sound. He built better phonographs using wax cylinders instead of tinfoil, longer recordings, clearer playback. He envisioned a future of recorded music, language lessons, even talking books. He believed sound would revolutionize education and entertainment. And he was right. Soon, phonographs entered parlors and classrooms. Families gathered around them like magic boxes. Edison marketed them not just as machines, but as talking companions. Voices of history, music, and memory were now permanent, but Edison's vision stretched even further. He imagined libraries filled not with books, but with recorded voices. He called them phonographic books, ideal for the blind, for children, for anyone craving knowledge through sound. He believed language itself could be preserved across generations, accents and eras. He thought the phonograph could record heartbeats for doctors, or wills dictated on the spot. Sound to Edison was not just entertainment, it was evidence, experience, legacy. He wasn't just building machines, he was reshaping how humans stored time. But his ambitions didn't stop there. If he could trap sound, what about motion? What about life and movement? Edison's next goal: to make pictures move. In our next episode, we'll step inside the Black Maria, Edison's film studio, and witness the birth of cinema. From voice to vision, Edison's reach grew ever deeper, until he shaped not just technology, but culture itself. The phonograph gave Edison a voice in every home, but he wasn't finished. He wanted to capture life itself, not just sound, but motion, gesture, time, and motion. And so, he built the first movie studio, the Black Maria. It looked like a shack, covered in black tar paper, built on a rotating base to follow the sun. Light was everything. Without it, there was no cinema. Inside, Edison's team created something the world had never seen: motion pictures. They used a camera called the kinetograph to shoot short films on strips of celluloid. Second device, the kinetoscope. Let people watch those films, one at a time through a peephole. No projection yet. No silver screens, just magic in a box, and people couldn't get enough. Boxers fought, dancers twirled, a man sneezed, the audience gasped. The films lasted seconds, but for a brief moment, they felt eternal. People paid a nickel to glimpse life in motion. Edison didn't direct or star in these films, but his fingerprints were everywhere. He funded the machines, filed the patents, hired the crews. He made motion-reel kinetoscope parlors. Popped up across America, people lined up to watch dreams flicker alive on tiny screens. But the biggest leap came with projection. With one click, a whole room could witness a moving story together. Edison rushed to stay ahead. His team built the Vitascope, an early projector, and launched public screenings. His name lit up theater posters. For a moment, he ruled the world of film, but rivals were rising. The Lumiere brothers in France bought Georges Méliès with his trick films. Others were telling stories, not just showing motion. Edison focused on novelty, muscle men, jumping dogs, parlor tricks. But the audience was evolving. They wanted plots, characters, emotion. And then came the legal wars. Edison tried to lock down the industry. He formed the Motion Picture Patents Company, an empire built on control. He sued, restricted, banned competitors. But art doesn't ask for permission. It escapes. Early filmmakers fled west to escape lawsuits and chase the California sun. Hollywood was born not as a dreamland, but as a rebellion against Edison. Edison gave them the tools, but storytelling belonged to the wild ones. His grip slipped. The industry moved on. Inventor or monopolist? Visionary or gatekeeper? The question swirled, and Edison kept building. In our final episode, we'll look at his last inventions, his rivalries, and the legacy he left behind, brilliant, flawed, and unforgettable. As the 20th century dawned, Edison stood both as a hero and a storm. He had given the world light, sound, and motion, but behind the brilliance, there was fire. Edison was not done inventing, not by a long shot. He turned his attention to storage batteries, cement, even mining. He dreamed of electric cars, powered by his nickel-iron batteries. He built factories, labs, partnerships. His mind never rested. But not everything turned to gold. Some inventions flopped, others came too early. The electric car failed to compete with gasoline engines. His mining venture drained millions and collapsed, yet he pressed on because Edison didn't fear failure. To him, failure was data. Every misstep revealed another path forward. And still, his biggest battles were not with nature, but with people. His most famous rivalry? Nikola Tesla. Edison championed direct current. Tesla, backed by Westinghouse, fought for alternating current. War of currents erupted. Edison launched smear campaigns, staged public electrocutions of animals, all to show AC was dangerous, but AC won. It powered cities. It was cheaper, more efficient. Edison lost that war, and he never forgave it. Then came the friendship with Henry Ford, one of the few men Edison truly admired. Ford called him a genius. Edison encouraged Ford's vision of the automobile. They vacationed together, went on camping trips with Harvey Firestone and naturalist John Burroughs. They called themselves the Vagabonds. For all his ambition, Edison was also deeply human. He loved music, gardening, his family. He worked through deafness, fatigue, and public criticism. But the world was changing, faster, bigger, new industries, new minds, new legends. In 1929, the nation celebrated the 50th anniversary of the light. Bulb. Edison, frail but smiling, stood beside President Hoover and Henry Ford. He reenacted the invention in a replica of Menlo Park. The room went dark. He twisted the switch. Light returned. People wept. A few years later, on October 18, 1931, Edison died in his home. For his final breath was said to be captured in a test tube. An eternal souvenir of genius. Today, his name lives on in every switch, every socket, every speaker. Edison didn't just invent things, he invented the modern world. But his legacy is double-edged. Pioneer who inspired millions. Businessman who crushed rivals, a symbol of progress and its cost. Perhaps that's what makes him unforgettable. He was not a saint, nor a villain. He was human, in all its brilliance, flaws and fire, and that was Edison. Thomas Edison was many things, a genius, a businessman, a tireless experimenter. But was there more? Behind the glowing legacy lies a shadow, filled with rumors, rivalries, and secrets the public rarely hears. Let's begin with the most bizarre, the spirit phone. In the 1920s, Edison reportedly began designing a machine to communicate with the dead. Yes, you heard that right. He believed that if the soul existed and had substance, then, like light or sound, it could be detected, measured, even recorded. He never completed the device, and some historians argue it was a joke, but others believe he was serious. Did Edison truly attempt to build a bridge between worlds? Then there's the question of ideas. Did Edison really invent all that he claimed? Some say no. Edison employed teams of brilliant assistants, often referred to as muckers. These men worked long hours, made critical breakthroughs, and yet, Edison signed the patents. Nikola Tesla once worked for him. So did other inventors whose names are lost to history. Did Edison steal credit? Or was he simply the visionary who turned chaos into invention? Let's not forget his rivalry with Tesla, a battle often painted in black and white. But history is messy. Tesla had ideas. Edison had infrastructure. Edison used dirty tactics. Tesla at times was his own worst enemy. Their war built the electrical world we live in, but it also left scars. There are even rumors that Edison had access to suppressed technology. Conspiracy theorists suggest he uncovered methods of wireless power, free energy, or psychological manipulation through sound. Wild claims? Perhaps. But when a man invents a machine to trap your voice, people start to wonder what else he tried to capture. And here's a strange fact. At the time of his death, some believed his final breath was captured in a sealed tube. Henry Ford supposedly kept it as a relic of genius. Today, that tube still exists in the Henry Ford Museum. Science, superstition, legacy, or something else? One thing's certain, Edison was never simple. He was a spark in a world of oil lamps, a man who fought darkness with invention, even if it meant creating a few shadows of his own. And now, it's your turn. What do you believe about Edison? Was he a genius or a thief? A visionary or a master of manipulation? Did he try to talk to ghosts or become one in history himself? Let us know in the comments. And if you've enjoyed uncovering the tangled life of Thomas Edison, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because there are many more minds to explore, and their secrets are waiting.